they've got cushioning. Stop it a bit more wet here, so be careful.
More and more challenging. What's upstairs?
So that's inside the roof, inside the cap, and so that is all the mechanical elements, essentially, that send the power from the sails down to the stones. Yes, so the flower making process starts on the top floor, which is why usually I bring everyone up here to start the tours. But just above us, where the water is kindly seeping down the stairs, that is inside the cap, or the roof. It's called an onion cap because of its shape. It needs a lick of paint, which is why it's leaking. We are expecting repairs to begin to the building as a whole at the start of November. So you have come just in time to avoid the closure of the building for a year. Yeah, it starts on the 3rd of November for 52 weeks. So during which time the majority of that work will actually be done to the cap, because there are failings in the structural timbers, basically, so the whole thing kind of needs a replace and a refresh, really. So, as I said, downstairs, the roof can rotate around on top of the brickwork, and it just sits on top of an iron curve and just slides around, so it's not connected to anything, so if the wind gets too strong, it can sort of just get underneath and lift it like an umbrella. So we have had some sketchy moments where we've hit 60-mile-an-hour winds and the roof's been doing this, dancing about on top of the building, so yeah, so fingers crossed that does not happen tomorrow. So this is where the flower making process starts. We mill, or if we were currently milling, which we're not because we're waiting for the repairs to get done, ordinarily we would be milling 4 different types of grain, so wheat, spelt, rye and oats, into 6 different types of flour, because you can turn wheat into wholemeal and white flour, and you can turn spelt into wholemeal and white spelt. There's no point, or not much point, in doing that with the rye flour, because the flavour for the rye flour is actually in the bran content that gets removed when you turn it into white. So 4 different types of grain that we get in, and they come in 25 kilo sacks ordinarily. We usually buy it in a ton at a time, so that's 40 sacks. And when we want to mill anything, it's got to come all the way up here, using that chain hoist right there. Okay. So I would chuck a bag on there, on the ground floor, and then just pull it so it forms all the way up through the floor, through the trapdoors, up to here. At which point I will chuck it in this machine, which is the cleaner. So this is probably one of the older machines in the building, early 1900s. As you can see, most of the stuff that is in here has been adapted to run on electricity, which is not original to the building, but without the modifications to make that happen, we'd never have any flour. So, yeah. So what happens with this is the wheat goes in the top, or any of the grain goes in the top, and it's basically a giant sieve with 3 tiers. So it takes out everything that's too big, comes into this bag here, everything that's too small goes down into that bucket down there, and everything is just the right size, goes downstairs through a hole in the floor, because that's what we want to turn into flour. So this thing is the reason, or this process is the reason we have the phrase separating the wheat from the chaff. Because what you're doing is you're removing the chaff from the wheat. Okay? So we've got stuff like bits of sticks from farms, stones, you've got soil, you've got, occasionally there's some bugs in here, but we also need to keep an eye out for diseased grains as well. So we've got ergot and smut are the two main ones that we have to watch out for. Ergot is a hallucinogenic fungus, so we definitely don't want people eating that because they'll start seeing pig fly. It's not fun. Yeah, so we do quite heavily rely on this thing. Everything we buy in goes through this machine first. What I will do is turn it on so that you can get out and feel it because it does shake the floor. Right, there we go.
Hello, we are at the very top.
The machine's about to switch on.
Yeah. We were really lost somewhere. It's been a long day. Wow.
It's time to
Okay.
be deafened by
Are
the
we
by the
in
equipment.
time? Yeah. We got people.
Okay.
Hello everyone, sorry.
Hello, hello.